Eliza and I used to be inseparable. When we first met, sparks ignited, passion burned bright, and every moment felt like an adventure. But somewhere along the way, life dulled those flames. I noticed the shift months ago. Conversations became shallow, physical intimacy turned into a routine, or disappeared altogether. She worked late more often, guarded her phone like a precious secret, and flinched whenever I casually mentioned trust. I had my suspicions. Then, out of nowhere, she proposed a weekend getaway. "Let's go to the mountains, just the two of us," she said one evening, sitting across from me at the dinner table. Her eyes, once filled with warmth, carried an unfamiliar hesitance. "We need this, Michael." She wanted to reconnect. Or maybe she wanted to atone. I wasn't sure which, but I agreed. Maybe it was stupidity. Maybe it was hope. Either way, I needed answers. We arrived at Moonlit Haven Resort late Friday afternoon. Snow clung to the tall pines, and the crisp mountain air carried the scent of burning firewood. The resort itself was luxurious, massive stone archways, intricate wooden carvings, and floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the glistening lake below. Eliza squeezed my hand as we stepped inside. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" I nodded, though my mind was elsewhere. The receptionist, a professionally dressed woman with sleek black hair, greeted us with a polished smile. "Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Carter. Checking in." Eliza nodded, reaching for her purse. I stepped back, watching her closely. The woman slid a check-in form across the counter. "Please fill this out with both guest names." Eliza grabbed the pen. And then she froze. Her entire body tensed, fingers gripping the pen so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her throat bobbed as she swallowed hard, her breath suddenly unsteady. For the briefest moment, panic flashed across her face. "Something wrong, sweetheart?" I asked, my voice carefully neutral. She forced a weak chuckle, shaking her head. No. Just cold fingers." A lie. I saw it in the way her hands trembled. I saw it in the way she hesitated before finally scrawling my name onto the paper. The receptionist handed us 2 keycards. "Enjoy your stay." Eliza grabbed hers and practically yanked me toward the elevator. Her urgency intrigued me. What was she so afraid of? Our suite was breathtaking. Vaulted ceilings, a stone fireplace crackling with warmth, plush carpets, and a king-sized bed adorned with soft silk sheets. Rose petals were scattered across the duvet, a bottle of champagne chilling in a silver ice bucket. Romantic. Perfect. Artificial. Eliza turned to me with a nervous smile. "Surprise. I wanted this weekend to be special. It's thoughtful." I kept my voice measured, controlled. She poured 2 glasses of champagne, handing me one. "Let's toast. To us." I raised my glass. "To honesty." A flicker of hesitation. Just a fraction of a second. But I caught it. She drank quickly, her throat working, avoiding my gaze. "Dinner should be here soon," she said, changing the subject. "Good." I leaned against the fireplace, watching her. "Tell me something, Eliza. Have you ever been here before?" A pause. Not even a full second. But long enough. "No." "Why?" she asked too quickly, too forcefully. I shrugged. "It just feels familiar." She smiled tightly. "Probably just déjà vu." Another lie. The pieces were starting to fall into place. And soon I'd have all the answers. Eliza busied herself adjusting the room, fluffing pillows, straightening the champagne bucket, anything to avoid looking at me. I sipped my drink, studying her, knowing she could feel my gaze burning into her skin. "Dinner should be arriving soon," she said, voice unnaturally bright. "Good," I replied evenly, not breaking eye contact. "Tell me more about why you picked this place." She hesitated just for a second. "It had good reviews. And I thought we needed this. To reset. To reconnect." A well-rehearsed speech. Forced sincerity. She turned away, running her fingers along the bedpost. "I just want us to feel like us again, Michael." I almost believed her. Almost. A knock at the door interrupted the tension. Room service. A young man in uniform wheeled in a cart filled with covered dishes, the scent of steak and garlic butter wafting into the room. Enjoy your meal, sir, ma'am, the server said, bowing slightly before exiting. Eliza took her seat, smoothing her napkin over her lap. I ordered your favorite, she said with a small, hopeful smile. How thoughtful, I murmured, taking my knife and slicing into the tender cut of meat. For a few minutes we ate in silence, the only sounds the clinking of silverware against fine china. Then I decided to test her again. Are you sure you've never been here before? I asked casually. She nearly dropped her fork. Why do you keep asking that? She snapped, a little too defensive, a little too fast. I shrugged, swirling the wine in my glass. Just curious. You reacted strangely at check-in. She let out a forced laugh, waving me off. Michael, you're overthinking. I was just tired from the drive. I nodded, pretending to accept her answer. But I had my own plans. After dinner, she excused herself to take a shower. The moment I heard the water running, I moved quickly. Her purse sat on the nightstand. I unzipped it, fingers sifting through its contents, lipstick, receipts, a pack of gum. Then, at the very bottom, I found her phone. Locked, of course. But something else caught my eye. A folded slip of paper tucked beneath her wallet. I pulled it out and unfolded it carefully. It was an old Moonlit Haven check-in form. The guest name? Eliza Carter. The second guest? Christopher Hale. My grip tightened. My best friend. I clenched my jaw, forcing my breathing to stay even. The date on the form was from 6 months ago. 6 months. She had brought him here. Slept in this hotel. Probably in this very room. And now, she had brought me here. To cover her tracks? To erase her guilt? Or had she truly thought I wouldn't find out? The water shut off. I folded the paper quickly, slipping it back into her purse just as the bathroom door opened. Eliza stepped out wrapped in a plush white robe, damp curls framing her delicate face. She looked stunning, just like she had on our honeymoon. But now I saw her differently. She smiled, padding barefoot toward me. "Join me in bed?" she asked, voice dripping with sweet seduction. I forced a smile, standing up. "Actually, I need to grab something from the lobby." Her smile faltered. "At this hour? Won't take long." Before she could question me further, I grabbed my coat and stepped out into the hallway. Downstairs, the lobby was mostly empty except for the night receptionist, a different woman from earlier. She looked up and greeted me with a polite nod. "How can I help you, sir?" I slid the old check-in form across the counter. "I have a question. Have my wife and I stayed here before?" She glanced at the paper, frowning. "Not together, sir." "But," she hesitated. "But what?" I pressed. She lowered her voice. "Your wife has been here before with this man." She tapped Christopher's name. I already knew the answer, but hearing it confirmed aloud felt like a blade to the chest. "Are you sure?" I asked, though my voice had lost its strength. She nodded solemnly. "Yes. They stayed for 3 nights. Romantic package. 3 nights." I swallowed the bile rising in my throat. "Thank you," I muttered, grabbing the form and turning away. Eliza had lied. Not once. Not twice. But for 6 months straight. And now I had all the proof I needed. When I returned to the suite, I found her waiting for me in bed, her robe slightly open, revealing delicate lace beneath. Her lips curved into a sultry smile. "Everything okay?" she purred. I stood in the doorway, gripping the check-in form in my pocket, heart pounding. "Oh, Eliza," I whispered, stepping closer. "I know." Eliza's seductive smile faltered the moment I spoke. Her fingers, which had been lightly tracing the edge of the silky bedsheets, froze mid-motion. "You know?" she repeated, voice barely above a whisper. I took slow, deliberate steps toward her, the weight of the check-in form burning in my pocket. My heart pounded, not from nerves, but from the sheer thrill of watching her squirm. She forced a laugh, shaking her head. "Michael, what are you talking about? You're acting strange." I pulled the folded paper from my pocket and held it up. Her eyes darted to it, and in an instant, every last trace of color drained from her face. She didn't even try to feign ignorance. Didn't gasp or ask, "What is that?" No. She knew exactly what I had in my hands. "Recognize this?" I asked, my voice steady, controlled. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came out. She swallowed hard, gripping the edge of the blanket like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. "You were here," I continued, unfurling the paper. "6 months ago. With Christopher Hale. My best friend." A choked sound left her throat, something between a gasp and a plea. I tossed the form onto the bed in front of her. 3 nights, Eliza. 3 nights of reconnecting with him. Was it worth it? Her hands trembled as she reached for the paper, her eyes darting over the damning evidence. When she finally looked up at me, tears welled in her eyes. "Michael, don't." I wasn't interested in whatever pathetic excuse she had lined up. I had spent months feeling like a fool, questioning myself, doubting my instincts, wondering if I was just being paranoid. But now I had the truth. "Please, just listen to me," she begged, swinging her legs off the bed and standing cautiously. It wasn't what you think." I let out a bitter chuckle. "Oh? You didn't screw my best friend in this exact hotel?" "Because, sweetheart, that's exactly what the records say." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "It was a mistake." "A mistake," I repeated, my anger bubbling over. "A mistake is accidentally calling someone by the wrong name. A mistake is burning dinner. Sleeping with another man for an entire weekend? That's a choice." She covered her mouth with both hands, shoulders shaking. "I was weak. I was lonely, Michael. You weren't there." I scoffed. "Oh, so now it's my fault?" She shook her head rapidly. No, I'm not saying that. She exhaled shakily. "I wasn't thinking. I was angry at you, at us. Chris, he was there. He listened." "Oh, I bet he did," I muttered, jaw clenched. The betrayal stung more than I wanted to admit. Christopher wasn't just my friend. He was my brother in every way that mattered. We had grown up together, celebrated victories, consoled each other during heartbreaks, and he had been screwing my wife behind my back. Eliza took a shaky step closer. "Michael, I swear to you, after that weekend it ended. It meant nothing. That's why I brought you here. To rewrite those memories. To make things right." I laughed coldly. "Make things right? By lying to me? By pretending like this place held no significance to you?" She reached for me, but I stepped back, her touch now something repulsive. "I love you," she whispered, voice breaking. "No, Eliza," I said, shaking my head. "You don't. If you did, you never would have done this." Her face crumpled. Good. Let her feel even a fraction of what I was feeling. "Michael, please," she sobbed. "Please don't throw everything away. We can fix this." I stared at her, taking in the pathetic sight. 6 months ago, she had taken another man to this resort, into a bed that wasn't ours. And now, she expected me to forgive her? No. I had a better idea. "You're right, Eliza," I said slowly. She blinked, hope flashing across her tear-streaked face. "I am." I nodded, a slow smirk curling at my lips. "We should rewrite some memories." Her face softened. "Michael, I grabbed my phone, unlocking it with ease. She frowned, watching as I tapped the screen a few times. Then, her phone buzzed from the nightstand. She turned toward it slowly, hesitant, as if she already knew what I had done. "Go on," I urged. "Check your messages." Hands trembling, she reached for her phone and unlocked it. The moment her eyes landed on the screen, her lips parted in a silent scream. "Michael, what did you do?" she whispered, voice laced with horror. I crossed my arms. "Oh, nothing much. Just sent our lovely little check-in form to Christopher's wife. Thought she deserved to know, too." Eliza let out a strangled gasp, hands flying to her mouth. "You didn't." "Oh, I did." Tears streamed down her cheeks as she shook her head violently. Michael, you don't understand. This will ruin his marriage. Yeah, I mused. Kinda like how it ruined ours? She sobbed harder, body shaking uncontrollably. But I felt nothing. No sympathy. No regret. Only satisfaction. I walked to the door, grabbing my coat. Enjoy the room, sweetheart. Seems like you have a lot to think about. And with that, I left her there, broken, crying, and drowning in the mess she created. Night stretched long and cold. Olivia sat on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, eyes red from crying. I still love you, she whispered. I scoffed. You don't cheat on someone you love. She flinched but said nothing. The weight of her betrayal pressed heavily between us. I had two choices: stay and drown in this mess, or walk away and reclaim my life. Taking a deep breath, I stood up. I'm done, Olivia. Her lips parted, desperation flickering in her eyes. Please, don't go like this. How else should I go? My voice was eerily calm. Should I pretend this never happened? Forgive and forget? No, Olivia. That's not me. Tears streamed down her face. I made a mistake. A mistake is spilling coffee, I said coldly. This was a choice. A series of choices. She dropped her head into her hands, sobbing softly. Maybe she regretted it. Maybe she didn't. It didn't matter anymore. I grabbed my bag, feeling lighter than I had in years. Where will you go? She asked, voice barely above a whisper. Away, I said simply. She didn't try to stop me. I walked out, leaving behind the cabin, the lies, the pain. 1 year later. The ocean breeze carried the scent of salt and freedom as I stretched out on a beachside cafe terrace, watching the waves crash against the shore. Life had changed in ways I never imagined. After leaving Olivia, I focused on rebuilding myself. I traveled, met new people, rediscovered passions I had long neglected. The heartbreak had been painful, but it had also been necessary. Excuse me, is this seat taken? A soft, melodic voice asked. I looked up to see a woman with striking blue eyes and a warm smile. She was holding a coffee, waiting for my response. I gestured to the seat. It is now. She laughed, sitting across from me. I'm Emma. I hesitated, realizing how good it felt to introduce myself without the weight of my past dragging me down. I'm James. She smiled. Nice to meet you, James. For the first time in a long while, I felt something real. Hope. A new beginning. And this time, I knew I wouldn't settle for anything less than true love.